Michigan, you have a little bit more time. Those polls won't close until 8 p.m. So just about 30 minutes to get your votes in. But right now, I wanted to hop on here so I can show you how you can stay up to date with all of your election results all night long. And we'll hear from some reporters out in the field to see what they're seeing out there. And we're going to take a look at some of the pictures that you are sending us. So that is very exciting. So we're going to bring up our webpage right now. You're just going to go to WTOL.com/elections. And then you're going to see all the results as they come in tonight. Now, right now, we probably aren't going to be seeing any numbers, right? Because polls closed 5 minutes ago. But let's scroll down a little bit and first take a look at Toledo mayor, because there is a big mayoral race happening tonight. So we have incumbent Wade Kapsakavich. He was actually elected in November of 2017, and he took his oath of office on January 2nd, 2018, becoming the 58th mayor of Toledo. Now, before he became the mayor, he was actually the Lucas County treasurer from 2005 all the way until 2018. So he's been around for a little while, but he's being challenged by someone who's been around for even longer. So he's being challenged by former Toledo Mayor Cardi Finkbeiner. Now, he served 3 terms as Toledo's mayor, first elected in 1993, serving 2 terms, and term limits actually stopped him from running 3 consecutive elections. So he ran again in 2005 and won, but didn't run after that. So now he is seeking re-election. And last week, we actually hosted a debate between Kapsakavich and Finkbeiner. So you can go back and watch that if you want. That's on our website, WTOL.com, and it's on our YouTube page. So check that out if you're interested. Now, right below here, we have City Council, and we have a big number of people, right? Now, you're going to recognize a lot of these names, and we've actually interviewed quite a few of them on Leading Edge with Jerry Anderson. So if you want to go back and watch some of those interviews and get to know them a little bit more and what they're running on, you can go to WTOL.com, and we have a whole Leading Edge section of our website that you can kind of click through and watch that. So now we're going to scroll down even further. We have another mayoral race going on in Sylvania, and this one is actually really exciting. And it's definitely catching some attention because it's actually been 44 years since the Sylvania mayoral candidate has faced a challenger, which is just wild, right? So for 25 of those years, Mayor Craig Stow has run unopposed. So he won re-election every year since he was sworn in 96. Now, the Republican is being challenged by Sylvania Councilwoman Katie Cappellini, who is an independent. Now, she says she's more connected to the needs of local business. So we'll see if the voters agree. Now, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom because there is one more mayoral race, and that's all the way in Monroe, Michigan. So there are 3 candidates who are vying for the spots up in Monroe. Now we have a couple more issues going on here. Just above what we're looking at here are our school levies. So we've got Bowling Green City Schools and Lake local schools. Now, Kaylee Kirby is going to join us in just a couple minutes here, and she's going to dive deeper into those 2 issues. Now, just above Bowling Green and Lake local schools, or maybe, yeah, there we go. We have the Perrysburg Schools Board of Education. So there are 5 candidates here, but voters are going to be choosing 3 to join the Board of Education. So you'll be seeing those results here as soon as they start to come in. It is still obviously very, very early. Now, I want to switch over and take a look at some of the pictures you have been sending us. If you want to send us your pictures, you can still do that. All you have to do is text your photo to 419-248-1100, or you can send it to us through Facebook. We have a post pinned to the top of our page, and you just can put that in the comments there. So let's take a look here. We've got Aaron Walker. He's actually a new citizen to the United States. He's coming from Canada, and he voted in Toledo today for the first time with his wife. So that is very exciting. And how cool is it that he got to share that moment with us? So it's really neat to see this. I think we've got one more viewer maybe who sent something in that we're featuring. Here we go. More about Aaron Walker. There we go. Sean Meagley of Toledo. He shared his voting sticker, and he's a proud veteran exercising his constitutional rights and fulfilling his patriotic duties. So again, another really exciting thing and really inspirational thing to share with us about doing our civic duty. Now, we do have Kaylee on. She's waiting in our waiting room here. And again, she's at Lake Local Schools, which is my alma mater. So I'm excited to talk to her about that. And we're going to look at Lake and Bowling Green issues. So if we can get Kaylee in. Yes. Oh, I see it happening now. Hi, Kaylee.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me good?
I can, yeah.
Lovely.
Just
Look
needed to
at
make
this.
sure. I know, right? I was trying to get that fancy background, but I've just got bricks today. So
I
sorry.
mean, I think it works fine. So again, you are out at Millbury, right?
Yes.
Talking
Yep.
about Lake. My understanding is they're looking for funding for a new elementary school.
They
Is that
are.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
how
They
long
have.
has, sorry, go on.
Nope. You're good. You're good. I was just going to say this is a new issue that they have on the ballot. Nothing renewal. So yes, they are looking to build a new elementary school to replace their current one.
So how long has it been there? Because I know, like, I remember going there when I was a kid, and that was, I mean, like a long time ago at this point. So how long has that school been there?
Not as long as it's been there longer than you went to school. Building's actually 60 years old. So the superintendent feels that it's really time to build a new elementary school. They have a lot of electric issues, a lot of plumbing issues right now, and just the maintenance to keep up with a building that is 60 years old, and how they did things way back then is it builds more money on top of the things that they already have to do to maintain it. So yeah, they're hoping that a new elementary school would definitely keep those costs down compared to keeping what they have.
So what would the impact on taxpayers be?
So they currently have a levy right now for the middle school. That levy is set to expire December of 2024, so in 2 years. But if voters approve this, it would go on top of the middle school issue, and it would only increase their payments by about $94 for someone who owns $100,000 home per year. So if you break down $94 into 12 months, definitely less than what you'd expect.
Right. So what's the vibe out there? Are they feeling pretty confident or?
Yeah, the superintendent is pretty confident. He says they're a close-knit community. A lot of people support that school. I'm sure anyone out there knows exactly what that's like. Being in a smaller community, they are definitely for their schools, and it's the centerpiece of that community. Their high school isn't too old, their middle school isn't too old, so they just feel like an elementary school would be the next thing, and then they wouldn't have to worry about anything for a while. I know that the superintendent is glass totally full kind of guy. He doesn't want to think about
Yep.
he doesn't want to think about them losing or ballot the issue not passing. He wants to go full send. Hopefully everyone votes yes before we have to think about what we have to do if it is voted down.
Absolutely. Now you're also following Bowling Green City Schools. So what are voters considering over there?
Yeah, so for Bowling Green City Schools, they are voting on a renewal levy. This levy has been in place since 1992, and it's actually the eighth time that voters have gone and voted on this issue
Wow,
for the district.
that's wild. So
Yeah.
have you heard anything from over there? Do you know the confidence level over in Bowling Green?
Yeah, so they are pretty confident, hopefully that it'll pass. It's only a 0.5% renewal, so it wouldn't change any of what the voters and their district residents pay right now. They are looking to, the thing that they're trying to change with this is they're trying to make it a continual levy. So if it passes, voters in that district would not have to vote on it again. Since it's been in place for years and years since 1992, they feel like this is probably the best next step instead of going to voters every 5 years and asking them to renew something that's been renewed 7 times already.
Right. Now, is there anything else you think people watching should know about either of these issues, about what's going on out there?
The only thing I would say is for Bowling Green City Schools, it currently brings in like $3.9 million for them. BG City Schools, I know I've done stories with them. They have a lot of things that they are continually trying to do with maintenance and things like that. This money, if it's approved again for the eighth time, would go to do that. And it would ensure that there is always money in the general fund for things, for students, for repairs, for maintenance, and things like that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on. I won't keep you anymore. I know you've got plenty to prepare for tonight.
Dinner's first.
Yeah, of course. Pizza for election night.
I know, right? We always love pizza.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, Kaylee.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jensen. Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
So next up, we are going to have Tatiana Cash. I don't believe that she is quite in our waiting room yet, but maybe while we wait, we can take a peek back at our results page. Again, I have not really any expectations that results are going to be coming in yet, but it is a good way to remind you all of where you can go to take a look at these results. You can just always go to WTOL.com/elections, and we're going to have those updates for you all night long. Now, I am seeing Tatiana is on the line, so we're just going to wait a minute and see if we can get her in here. Yay! I see it coming. There we go. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. I love it. It's got to be the routine that we do every time.
Every time she's like, hi, can you hear me? Can I hear you? Yes, we can hear each other.
The new greeting.
We are currently at the early voting center, and of course it is quiet because again, polls just closed a couple minutes ago.
Yep.
So numbers not quite here just yet. And here, what the nice thing is they just postponed their meeting. The Board of Elections did, but here's what I can show you, which is if we were to flip it, unofficial election results going around the camera. Keep going.
Yay, look at this sneak peek.
Nothing. So then at the end of the day, obviously now we're just waiting, but as they scroll through things kindly to let you know, this is just what's going on. So here's what we're waiting on. I actually have been tasked with focusing on here in Lucas County, 3 different issues, issues 1, 2, and 3. Issue 1 was the Lucas County 911. Issue 2 was the Imagination Station. And then issue 3 was the Toledo Zoo. And I believe the only one that is technically going down when it comes to potential costs would be the Toledo Zoo. When it comes to maintenance, things of that nature, but 911 and the other one going up just a tad bit when it comes to numbers, those details. But again, we won't know who said yes, who said no for quite a bit. I do know that the word on the street is that the absentee ballot numbers should be coming in fairly soon, but
good.
In the time that you and I are conversing, not anytime right now, I imagine.
Well, can you explain a little bit more about what's going on with the zoo? Because it is pretty rare that you see something that's actually going down.
So then what I do know from the zoo, from my notes, because I won't go directly off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So it's a property tax renewal and decrease when it comes to maintenance. And so then the renewal is going to replace the 0.75 mil with a 0.65 mil. So a 10 drop, which is nice. And that's going to be over a period of 5 years. And then when first start collecting it next year in 2022.
Wow.
So decrease will be nice. From what I'm understanding, then while your property taxes go down, things in the area may cost a little bit more. But the pandemic, I feel like we should be used to it. But let me not make assumptions about people's pockets. Of course, they'll make that decision.
Of course. Now, I was talking with Victoria Duggar earlier, and the 911 issue is one that I really don't know that much about. Do you have any information you could share about that one?
I did not. When it comes to 911 property tax renewal, so 0.7 mil for that is going to be collected over a 5-year period, and that's going to start next year in 2022 as well. The only issue actually that's only going to be collected in another year's time, so in 2 years technically, is actually Imagination Station. So 911 is going to be for 0.7 mil. And then again, it's for public safety information system. And that's going to be over 5 years that's going to be collected, and it starts next year.
Okay. Have you been able to talk to anybody? Do you have any kind of idea of like the vibe that you're getting out there?
At this point, the vibe is just, hi, go sit down. Okay. So,
Fair enough.
Everybody's kind of walking around milling. I know that Lavera Scott, the director, she and I will chat a little bit later. I know she basically just said hi and then pointed me towards the meeting, which again is on pause right now. So I don't have a ton of but everybody's in good spirits. They're just busy,
Good.
you know. That's the best I got, unfortunately, when it comes to that. Because right now, as we know, it's still early days. Because right when the polls close is when everybody's shifting and moving and getting into position to get things. So a little bit later on, we should be able to have better numbers. And of course, when it comes to safety, masks are on. So all throughout the building, we're all being, protected, social distancing, things of that nature here at the early voting center.
Wonderful. Now, one last question before I let you scurry off. Do you have any idea about the voter turnout, or do you not have those numbers quite available?
Unfortunately, no, I do not have, because when it comes to the unofficial election results that I saw over here, voter turnout still at 0. But what I did see, because I anchor the evening weekends, and when I spoke with Elvira on Sunday, she told me that it was about what we expect every year. And typically it's not super high, especially because it's a municipal local election. So
right.
Depending upon the issues, and she's saying these issues typically they're not as the best way to do it, not as sexy. So, things aren't, everybody's not running to the polls this year, but your true and tried voters did show up. So numbers for that Friday and that Saturday were overall about 400 each per day. So then, yeah, it's about what we would expect when it came to early voting. So I imagine day of voting, probably most likely, she said she'd probably see about the same, maybe a little bit more, because of course, as we've been talking about, and I'm sure Emma mentioned, the Toledo mayoral race. That's a big one. So I imagine more folks at least would come out, definitely for Lucas County. But imagine it to be a huge thing, probably not. Closer to your average numbers.
Makes sense. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate you taking the time to chit chat with us.
My pleasure. I thank you for letting me chat away, and I wish I had more for you. Hopefully I will, of course, later at 10 and 11. Well, at 11 o'clock. 10 o'clock, not so much the Major League Baseball. So whenever.
So that's another great tease. Make sure everybody tune in, WTOL, 11 p.m. and we'll see more Tatiana and less of those zeros, right?
Exactly. I'll have better news for you. Just more of the excitement, more of the numbers, more of the juice,
There we go.
That's the goal.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Now, I do see Emma, I think, is in the waiting room for us now, too. Everybody is ready to go tonight. Emma is over with the Kapsakavich team at Ernest Brewworks, but I think she's going to talk to us a little bit about both candidates. I'll double check with her. Yay, there she is. How's it going?
Hey, Jensen. Good. So I am at the party for Mayor Wade Kapsakavich. We are all just kind of waiting for results. They're getting eager because it sounds like early vote numbers may have just been posted on the website. One of them just asked me that question maybe 10 seconds before we hopped on this live. So,
wow.
Yeah, so the mayor is not here yet. I was told that he would probably get here once more of the numbers start rolling in, but we are seeing, some other elected officials, some city council members, a lot of members of his campaign, the people who put in the work for the, re-elect Wade campaign. So that's what's going on right now. Pretty relaxed environment. I'm sure it might tense up a little bit, like I said, now that the numbers are starting to show up. So I am happy to talk to you about both the mayor and the former mayor as candidates. Any questions you might have, things that you might want to talk about for the voters.
Yes, I would love that. So I guess you said it's kind of a calm environment right now because it's early, but do you sense any optimism? And is it like more nerves over there, or what's the general feeling?
I think there's a general feeling of optimism over here. I mean, we saw the primary results, we saw the numbers in the primary, and so did the people who are working on the campaign. And so, even the mayor has said that he hasn't spent a lot of time campaigning or even as much money campaigning, putting it toward mailing ads and things like that. So I do feel like there is a sense of optimism here, whereas at the other campaign, they may feel as though they have a bit more climbing to do to get to the numbers that they want to get to obviously secure a win. So yeah, everything here is pretty laid back. They've got the UT football game on, and people are just waiting for the mayor to show up and then go from there.
Wonderful. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about the issues that Kapsakavich mostly focused on throughout this campaign?
Yeah, so actually it was pretty universal across the board. Both Mayor Wade Kapsakavich and former Mayor Cardi Finkbeiner both focused on safety as kind of their number one priority. We heard a lot of things about how they want to grow the police force. They want to give the police force more resources. With the mayor, we're talking about the violence interrupters that have been hired and are now currently working in the Junction City neighborhood, seeing how it's still a little too early. They just got into that neighborhood at the end of summer. It's too early to really see any results, but obviously that's one thing. The second thing is youth programming. We have gotten $180 million through the American Recovery Plan Act. That is a lot of money for the city of Toledo to decide how to spend. And once time starts ticking, they only have 36 months to spend it appropriately. So
Wow.
whoever mayor has to spend $180 million in 36 months. Now, for most people, that doesn't sound like a bad gig. However, restrictions on how you can spend it, what type of things you have to spend it on. A lot of it is infrastructure and programming and places that might have been impacted by COVID. So we've seen some of that money go in bonuses to our firefighters and our police officers who are on the front lines, working with people who had COVID, throughout the pandemic and continuing to do so. We've seen money go to the Frederick Douglass Center, $2.5 million to go and rebuild that place. And then we also have some of that money they're looking at, new rec centers and youth sports and stuff like that. So those are things that the mayor has touched on, and also the former mayor. I mean, they both agree that, that type of infrastructural change, especially looking at our community level at the youth and safety, are kind of top priorities. So I imagine, regardless of who wins tonight, that's what we'll be hearing a lot about tomorrow.
So it sounds like a lot of the issues that they're focusing on are the same, but I'm assuming the routes to get to the solution are a little bit different. And we've already seen a little bit of what Kapsakavich has had in mind as he's, been around for a little while. But what is Cardi kind of said about what's his specific strategy? What are the different plans that he's laid out so far?
So he's talked a lot about community policing. If you look on his website, he has a 10-point plan for safety in the Toledo area. So, those are the different ways that he has approached it. He's talked a lot about community policing, getting things back to the community level, things that we have heard several times from him. I mean, they were both just in our studio last week doing a debate, and we really got an in-depth look at both of them and what they wanted to do. And for him, Cardi mentioned that he was not the biggest fan of the violence interrupters and things like that. He said he feels that the mayor and the chief of police and everyone really need to step up when it comes to safety. We didn't go into any real details on exactly what that would imagine, but I mean, he has talked about, funding and growing the police force, as has Mayor Wade Kapsakavich. So I would imagine that those are some of the things that would be going into that safety component for him.
Well, I won't keep you for much longer because I know there's a lot happening. So is there anything else you think people watching should know about either candidate or just about the election tonight?
I think it's incredibly important for people to be knowledgeable about their local politics. I think through COVID, we have really learned how important it is and how much of an impact it can have on our daily lives. When you look at what the health department has done, that's at a county level. When you look at what the mayor has done, when we were talking mask mandates and things like that, and tough decisions that had to be made, those might not have been on our radar during the previous election, but they're definitely on our radar with this election. So I think hopefully people are realizing, especially with that $180 million that the city is now going to be paying, and people are looking for those funds for programs they're passionate about. Those are your local politicians that are allocating those funds, that are making those decisions. So paying attention to local politics can pay off in more ways than one. So I think that would be the thing I had to add if there was anything else.
Very well put. I wholeheartedly agree. But thank you so much for hopping on and taking the time to chat with us, Emma. And then make sure people should tune in tonight at 11.
Yes, hopefully people tune in tonight at 11, because we are hoping, we can't promise, it's not us who tell you when the results are in. We're hoping we can at least have some solid numbers for you guys before you go to bed on what we can expect when you wake up in the morning.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sure I'll chat with you later. See you, Emma. Well, while we're talking about the results, why don't we pull back up our website? So you can go to WTOL.com/elections, and we're going to have that filling in all night long. I'm not sure if we're going to have any numbers in quite yet because it is kind of early. Yeah, I've seen some zeros already off the top. Let's scroll down a little bit here. Yeah, so far, we're not seeing a whole lot. Like Tatiana said, just a lot of zeros going on here, but it's important to know where you can look. It's still very early. Michigan polls are about to close in 1 minute here, so they're still voting. But if you go to WTOL.com/elections, those are going to keep filling in all night, or even easier, you could just text the word vote to 419-248-1100, and that's going to get all that information sent to your phone. Now, I'm going to pause for a little bit and let's pivot back to the pictures that you're sending in to us. I don't know if we've gotten anything new quite yet, but it might be nice to kind of revisit for anybody tuning in. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, Melissa Andrews, our anchor here, of course. She says, we'll see you at 11 on WTOL 11 Toledo for all your local election results. Our team is spread out all over. Like we just saw, they very much are. We've talked to a number of our reporters out in the field and seeing what they're seeing. We're going to have some more, hopefully, strong numbers for you coming out at 11, and they're going to have live election coverage all night. And then we see Emma there, of course, who we just talked with, and our own Ryan Weekman voted. Does it even count if you don't get a sticker? You know, that is a great question. The stickers, one of the most exciting parts, right? We all like to take our sticker selfies. Let's see, is there anything else we've got coming in here? It's changing. Oh, and of course, I would love to share this story for anybody just tuning in. We've got Aaron Walker, who is a new citizen here. He is from Canada, and it's his first time voting as an American in Toledo today with his wife. Very first time voting, and it's really nice that he's able to share that moment with us. And if you have any moments you want to share with us from your election night, again, you can send us your photos to 419-248-1100, or we have a post on Facebook pinned to the top of our page, and you can just put a comment right there underneath, and we can start adding that to our page, and we could even share it on air. So how cool is that? Again, I'm going to remind you of just a few things you can check out. Go to our website, WTOL.com/elections. The numbers should start filling in right now. It's a little too early to tell, but you can keep checking. Text the word vote to 419-248-1100. Get those results sent right to your phone. And of course, tune in tonight on Channel 11 at 11 p.m. And we'll have more coverage tonight and hopefully some more solid numbers. As a reminder, I do feel like I need to tell you guys that the numbers that you see tonight are only the predictions. They're the projected results. The results aren't official until they are certified. And that's not for a few days, probably more than a week yet. So keep that in mind as we move forward tonight. But with that, I'm going to let you all go. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Election Night Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in.